So in Nibley's article from Leaders to Managers, his claim was that when people become managers instead of leaders, civilizations and societies fall. Nibley starts introducing this idea of leaders and managers with the idea of graduation caps and gowns. He calls the robes that the students are wearing at the graduation a false priesthood, because they are now only an imitation of what they originally were meant to be. He said that they originally represented a withdrawal from things of this world, kind of like our temple garment, and that they were used for clerical leaders. So Roman emperors used the garment originally, but then they started to add a whole bunch of luxurious ornamentation to them and everything, and this led to their decline in power and glory. We also see that the local kings within the same area, they started using the robes and copying the emperors and trying to kind of outdo them with how beautiful they were. So over time, the robes, they actually became part of a standardization within the church of a moving away from spirit towards office. That is, they moved away from the unknown of personal revelation, personal discovery, and personal relationship with God to more concrete rules of how things should be, so that people weren't stuck with, ambiguity within the church. So along with ceremonies and practices that were being set in place within the church to create more order and standardization, caps and gowns were also used as one of the controls within the movement towards office, to manage the system within the church. So Nibley kind of talks about examples of leaders and managers within his speech. So he tells us that leaders are people who are creative. They believe in equality within their organizations and with those that they associate with. They set the highest example wherever they are. They are inspired, and they work towards a higher purpose without thinking of their own personal gain. They are idealistic, and they are incorruptible in their ways as a leader. Managers, on the other hand, are held back by constraints and rules, and they follow these constraints and rules perfectly so they can maintain their control. They're extremely concerned with rank and hierarchy, and they believe that the rules should be followed by those underneath them, or else they will face the consequences. So in order to illustrate his point more clearly about leaders and managers, Nibley gives us two examples from the Book of Mormon. First was Moroni. Moroni was the example of a great leader because he sought not for power. He sought for helping his people, and he wasn't even a warring man, but he did what he had to help the people. And he admitted his own faults when he did something wrong, like when he started to become a manager and managing the Nephites. He realized that what he was doing was wrong, and then he admitted that he was wrong. So he was incorruptible in his ways and was able to, come back after he had gone astray. Amalickiah, on the other hand, was a manager. He started a coalition of people who followed rules and regulations strictly, and he sought for his own personal gain, and did not care a bit about his people, and he just cared about himself and what he got. So Nibley makes his point that managers lead to the downfall of civilizations because they don't allow progress or advancement. He used the law of inheritance to describe this. So that is that that managers are so concerned with their own rank and their own personal gain that they don't promote those that are around them that they think might be better than them. So they don't promote the good people, people that are good at leading or good at what they do, because that's a threat to them. So this leads to society settling on mediocrity. Organizations are now have mediocre managers because they don't allow the better people to come to positions of power. So along with mediocrity, managers leading to mediocrity within society, they also value the vain things of the world, namely all the things that cost money. So they don't know the true value of anything because the only importance they place on things is its price. So they seek not for the things of God, but rather for things of the world, and they're driven by these things of the world. So they also have no true value in the work that they do, and they don't give anything of value to humanity because all they do simply has a price to it, but no eternal value. Managers worship idols like money and the economy rather than placing importance on the things of real value within our lives. Nibley kind of leaves us with the idea at the end of the paper that after we're done with all of our education and everything and going out to get a career, that when we're sitting there with our graduation gowns on, we should remember their true purpose, that they were a representation of the withdrawal from the things of the world, and that we shouldn't be consumed by all of these things in the world like money and power, and we should not become managers, but rather become leaders that focus on the things of real value within the world.